The story is still unfolding.
It's still unfolding.
The best is yet to come, and the best pages of our lives are yet to be written.
Indeed.
I continue to say we have not yet arrived. We are work in progress. We are beings in the process of becoming a people in constant pursuit of greatness, excellence, and total emancipation.
Dumelang bagaetsho ko gae and welcome back to Conversations with Madam President, a platform where we tell stories of hope and possibilities with an agenda to radicalize and revolutionize our way of thinking, to focus on arenas of solutions and timeless strategies to make impact. And today on our show, we have the man himself, who in his words he says, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Mafule Moswane, welcome to Conversations with Madam President.
Thank you so much, Madam President. It's an absolute privilege, complete pleasure, and distinct honor to join you in the conversations of liberating the hearts, the souls, and the minds of African people. So I'm excited to be here, to learn from you, to share my story, and hopefully inspire and impact one or two people out there.
Most definitely. There is power in telling our stories. There is power in telling our stories in the most authentic way, in the most original way. So it's great to have you here to be able to tell your own story without any edit. I mean, when I say there is power in telling your story, I mean that I don't want to hear your story from someone else. I mean, you should be the one who is telling your own story because there is power there. Mafule Moswane, can you please tell my viewers who is Mafule Moswane?
Thank you so very much. I am a very multifaceted individual. If I were to characterize myself, I would say that I wear many hats. But Mafule, number one, is a child of God, is a son, is a brother. But Mafule is also a leader.
Yeah.
Mafule is a thinker. Mafule is obviously an author who has so far written 2 books, as you can see. Mafule is a researcher. Mafule is a teacher. I lectured at Kansas State University in the United States of America between 2019 and 2020. Mafule is a public commentator. I engage on social, political, and current issues of the nation and the continent. And I'm a being in the process of becoming. And I'm a storyteller. And I'm becoming. And I can't wait to see what will happen in my life as I live it.
You are basically an institution. That's why when I thought of you, I'm like, you know what? There is power in telling our own stories because these stories will be a pathway for those who are coming after us. These stories will be a guideline to those who will be traveling the very same journey, but with more advanced skills and knowledge, understanding that there were people like you who were able to share their knowledge to say, this is how we do things, so that when they come, with knowledge, you can be able to walk through the journey in a more easier way to say. So I want to understand, where do you come from? We are talking about your background now. Where do you come from? I want to know about the Mafule. Where did you grow up? Where do you come from? Who are you? Very motho ke go itheta. If you can, o ka nna wa ipoka ka Setswana ra ipoka.
Okay.
We want those roots, the origin. Who are you? Of course. Because there are so many people who can relate with you.
I do have a praise name and a praise poem, and I'll get into it. Ke nna Phahle Mosho le diatla. Le dikgato tša dinao. They say that ba ra gona le kgarebe e gana go ja dijo le nna.
We are sitting here.
Of course, but ke nna mokgaritsi se metse se nepenepeng ngwana tsoro se ile le retha se le makhurano ke ngare go hlapa tlola. Soko di benga meriti mebeje meraro mongwe wa maloba. Re batho ba bo serunya o runya jwang wa sara naga wa khebetla. Wa ba fihla kwa mehlabeng e megolo ya bo thetiana. ke tshaba baditi, I don't want to take the whole
Yeah.
engagement
No, this is the
praising
beauty of
myself.
Africa.
Ba re ska itheta ga kudu, o tla
Yeah.
itoisha baloi. If you praise yourself that much, even witches can come looking for you to say, which one is this one?
Yeah. No, Marongwana Africa, you are an institution. I just needed you to tell us who
Of
you
course,
are.
and thank you for that, because I think you have enabled me to tell my story from an insider's perspective, but also to narrate it
Yeah.
as I should. Jwale ka ngwana wa mo-Afrika, go botlhokwa because I've also been part of a generation called the Feast Must Follow, the Fallist generation, where we were fighting for what we characterize as fee-free, decolonized higher education. And there's an author called Nkunki Wationgo who speaks about decolonization. That decolonization, it is the reading of the coloniality, but much more so, it is the advancement of the African language. Because as you speak, you and I now speaking in English, we are actually advancing the colonial agenda, because English is a colonial medium of instruction. Mara eupja, ga o re ithete, you are preserving my language
Yeah.
and my heritage. And my children, one day when they look at this video, they will say, Papa ki o.
Yeah.
Papa wa itheta, o re ke ena mamang, wa go tswa kae kae. Ba kgona go kwishisha, wa nkwishisha mos. Ke Mapedi, ge a bolela ba re wa nkwishisha mos. Ke rena batho ba bo mma.
Yeah. And there is power in that, because what I understand is that there's not, when you understand yourself, you understand your identity, you find it easy to navigate through. And when you walk this journey, you understand who you are, what you stand for, and who are carrying you on your shoulders to start with. There is power in identity, and that's why I asked you, who is Mafule Moswane and where do you come from? And you were able to set the standard to say, this is who I am. Even your people are proud to say he is representing us, because you are not representing yourself, but you are representing the community that you are, because you are not alone, you are a community. And thank you for that, for always embracing that part. And embracing that part, it's you embracing your identity, who you are. There's nothing beautiful like diversity. There is nothing beautiful like it, because when you embrace yourself, and here I am admiring your identity and being able to see Africa is beautiful and there are beautiful communities out there. Thank you for that. Mafule, you were saying, "Ongwana wa go tswa ga bo mma kwa Limpopo." Where do you come from? And like I want your background so that we can be able to build up to the great things that you have done.
Yes, thank you so very much for that question. I come from humble beginnings. I was born and bred in a village called Tabampiera Masemola, ke lefatshe la go busha ke babina tau. I grew up there just like a typical rural boy, playing soccer and kidisha dikgomo. There was nothing out of the ordinary really in my life. I'm grateful for that life because it gave me character. It gave me multiple diverse understanding of the world and perspective. I have rich experiences right now that, I cannot trade for anything in the world. And I'm grateful for that upbringing. Ke godisitswe ka lerato, And I can say, when they say it takes a village to raise a child,
Indeed.
and I shouldn't get emotional about this now, but I think it's okay.
It's okay.
I am that child.
Yeah.
When they say that it takes a village, and not just my village only, but I think for me, it's not even just South Africa. It takes the global community to hold my hand. I can't imagine my life without interventions of people. Absolutely. I've been through highs and lows, and I am someone who's now making progress, and I'm saying progress because progress takes time.
Absolutely.
And It is not just statistics, you know, you understand that it's also about joy
Yeah.
and happiness. Some things that you can measure in percentage, that you can say, you know, today I'm 99% happy. But you're like, I am experiencing peace that surpasses all understanding.
Understanding.
And I am in good spirit. And those things you can measure and you can buy out of the shelf. And I'm saying one of the greatest successes of my life, if you were to ask me, it's not the things I've achieved.
Yeah.
It's not the places I've been. It's not the lives that I've touched. It's that I'm happy. And there is no reason why I'm happy. It's not because I'm an author. It is not because I have a triple major master's degree from Wits University. It's not because of those material things. I'm happy because I'm happy. I am joyous because I am joyous. I am peaceful because I'm peaceful.
And there's a reason why I said there is power in community, because the communities that we come from, communities I mean, whether families, the villages we come from, and every person that forms part of our community, they pour into us. And that's why a person cannot be, o ka se be- we are, ba re- o ka se be tshikanosi. It's not possible. So we are a community, and our communities are serving something great into us, because from our communities,
Yes.
to be exact, that's where wisdom come from. That's where grounding come from.
Yes.
When you stand into the world, you are able to represent something great, because what our communities are pouring into us, it's something really great. And when we stand there, we stand understanding that I've got a place to fall back into. I've got a community that supports me, that provides me with wisdom and also knowledge and strength. And I love the fact that you are happy, not because of what you have achieved. That's the greatest part of humility. And I would narrate as to why do I say it's humility, because you get to understand that we are because of others. We are because of those who are
Motho ke
surrounding
motho ka
us.
batho.
Yes,
Yes.
ke motho ka batho. And
Absolutely.
you have said that. And the reason why I said, tell us where we come from, because I understand that you are standing on the great shoulders of your people, your community. And I would like to talk about the greatest institution, which started in your own community.
Yes, of course.
FBA.
Absolutely.
Can you please tell us what is FBA, and what is the intention? What is this institution intending to achieve?
Shoo. Wow, thank you. I think I need to breathe.
You need to.
FBA stands for Faculty of Best Advisory. We regard it as the greatest institution of our lives and times.
It is.
It is a university of life, and it's a school of leadership. FBA, it is a movement. FBA, it's a cultural institution. FBA teaches people values. FBA teaches people philosophies of life. FBA is over 10 years in 2024, which is now to date is 12 years. So you can imagine how gigantic of an institution with proportional impact it is. And it's humbling that young people from Ramasamula, particularly myself, having been honored as the vision
Yeah.
bearer, to come with these ideas, the name, the motto, and the vision that says we are here to empower, uplift, and inspire people through provision of information to ensure that community at large has access to valuable information. So early on in 2012, imagine young people, I was in my first year,
Yeah.
we come with such a broad vision, and it lives on to transform people's life. To date, FBA has national impact, continental reach, and global footprint. It has footprint in all the 26 public universities of South Africa and about 25% of the public colleges. It is well known, it is well appreciated, and FBA has turned families around. FBA has made it possible for families to have breadwinners. FBA have made us to be, people who don't have to introduce ourselves in big spaces. FBA has granted us a seat on the table, particularly in the affairs of the nation. I, for one, can tell a testimony that I was able to teach at the first operational land grant University of America at Kansas State University, fundamentally because of FBA. And I went there to make history as the first African to be a lecturer at the State School of Leadership in the same institution. And I was teaching about the work of FBA at the global level. I have not heard of an institution like that in South Africa. I have not heard of a young person who has went from South Africa not having studied leadership, but to teach leadership at an international level. So what the hell is FBA? It is everything I have shared and everything that I haven't shared. FBA is a phenomenon, and I'm grateful and honored to be part of this because this is a legacy institution.
It is.
Our children will say that our parents lived and they've lived for something great. And of course, we will be alive and continue to tell this story with them.
Indeed.
And it's so powerful. It's a like I told you that it's a school of leadership. People come here and learn. There is a FBA factor in FBA volunteers and members. Someone who comes out of FBA, they are extraordinary. They are set apart from their peers. You can feel their energy, their human skills. They are unmatched. So I think I'm just grateful. And I wish the young people of FBA everything of the best, that let us go out to advance our work of career guidance. Let us go out and offer mentorship. Let us go out and do the leadership programs. Let us go out and do the entrepreneurship programs. Let us go out and lead the people to what we call total emancipation, which simply put means to liberate people from all forms of oppression. That is our Vision 2032 in qualitative terms, which in quantitative terms it's about impacting 10 million people and raising about 10 million rands. So you can see that this dream is different. We have a dream that is both quantitative and qualitative, which is something unique in institutions because our dream takes the shape and form of a story and data in the form of number. It's a scientific revolution that we are leading. And also when we talk about teachings and philosophy, FBA has been located in the canon of ideas. It's a Pan-Africanist. You look flamboyant, by the way.
Thank you very much, sir.
A powerful powerhouse of an African woman. So
Africa is Jena.
Jena, Africa. So FBA is Pan-Africanist, Black conscious, decolonial internationalist institution, and of course a movement of total emancipation. So we in FBA don't just do the work of FBA for the sake of just doing it. We are doing it guided by our forefathers like Kwame Nkrumah, who leads Pan-Africanism, like Thomas Sankara, who leads Africanism, like Julius Nyerere, like Charlotte Manya Macheke, Winnie Madikizela Mandela, who leads Pan-Africanism, like Stephen Bantu Biko, who leads Black consciousness, like people like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr. We lean on the shoulders of people like Ngungi wa Diongo, who speaks about decolonization, like Audre Lorde, who speaks about dismantling the master's tools so that we can liberate ourselves. We lean on internationalists like Frantz Fanon, Paulo Freire, who says that we are here for the liberation of Africans, not only in Africa, but for the Africans in the diaspora. That's why we say we are internationalists, because if we are saying we are only doing work for African people, what about Kgaugelo, who's going to go to University of Oxford and do her PhD? Are we going to stop working with her and for her? No. What about the children of Gaugelo who are going to have two citizenships when they are being born in UK?
Indeed.
Do you hear what I'm saying? That's why we are internationalists.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
are very, 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 very much aware of what we're doing.
And going into that, and I
Yes.
still want to link the power of identity, because in most cases, identity propels us to push narrative, not only narrative, to build institutions, knowing who we are, what we are here to do, and what is it that we want to achieve. And
Yes.
I'm so grateful and I'm so amazed. And actually, you know what, congratulate FBA for the impact that it's doing, because you are not only doing it for the young people. And I'm very much grateful that you are investing in the very young people. They are our tomorrow. They are the future. And planting that seed of saying, hey, in the high schools, in the career guidances that you do, it's you saying, I see you and I know you've got potential. You bring them into an environment with great skills, as you have mentioned. And what I want us to do, and rather mention, is to say there is power in identity. Because if you don't know who you are, you'll just do things for the sake of doing them. But when you know who you are, what you are here for, you carry vision with great conviction. And I love the fact that you are narrating it, because you understand what is the mission and vision of this institute. It is great and it will live forever. And already the footprints that you've already mentioned in the, you are talking about continents. You're not only talking about the country.
Of course.
You're talking about continents. And what I want us to get into, looking into this thing of doing things, understanding who we are, because nowadays we are living in a generation where trends are a thing. You know, this comes today, tomorrow this is gone. And we lose ourselves in the process of trends, trying to catch up with trends. You end up not knowing who you are. How do we ground ourselves to understand that when you decide to do something, it is not a matter of a trend. It's about, let that thing derive from identity, understanding what you stand for, who you are, and where you are going. And because you said you were trusted with this vision. And when God trusts you with the vision. He understands that I'm trusting this man with the vision. He will not be able to pollute it through the trends just because someone else is doing this. You would want to adopt that. You'd want to, impurify the vision to be exact, to say, I'm doing this because I saw this. And you were able to stand firm. And preaching your vision is not easy. And bringing people into it to say, I want it to build up in a most authentic form. I've received it in, and I want to get into the fact: how were you able to make sure that the people that you are bringing in to your vision, that you are trusted with, drive it in the most authentic way? Because you understand the purity and the authenticity of this vision. Because, like I mentioned, we live in a time where trends are the ones that are directing us. When this is here, we are moving according to it. But bringing back to you to say, your identity has carried you to start with. It has grounded you. How did you even bring people into your vision to keep it authentic? And it is here. It is making blueprint into continents. And how did you make sure that you keep it as authentic as possible, regardless of the societal ideas, societal changes, and all that?
Wow, that's powerful. The long and short answer to it initially is that we didn't know what we were doing when we started. I think people have to be honest.
Yeah.
We had an idea, yes, that we want to help, but we didn't see, like, we were helping them for the here and now, and we're like, soon enough we'll be done with our degrees and we get married, we live with our wives, happily ever after, and no, I'm being brutally honest with you. It's
and
like,
I love that.
It was like, maybe, we'll do it for the time being.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we have answered, one of my friends, Theo Hans, who's in this work of FBA, said we've answered a calling of callings to the cause of causes, which is to serve. And we've been called for this work. I'll tell you, it took much more than the desire to serve. It requires sacrifice.
Absolutely.
So I got trained in geography, archaeology, and environmental sciences from degree honors till master's level. But ask me for my PhD, I decided to do a PhD in leadership. Did I not qualify for a PhD in the same field I got trained for my other degrees.
Yeah.
I did. Of course, I'm an A student, right? But I said, for the sake of the dream, I'm willing to take a different course. Prior to even going abroad for my PhD training, I went through a lot of leadership training. It took time from me having fun. Do you hear what I'm saying?
I hear you.
I had to buy books instead of using money for fun. I had to sacrifice in buying leadership books. So I'm telling you, how do we then preserve this identity of a vision of an organization? It requires sacrifice,
And it's powerful.
tremendous amount of sacrifice. And it requires you to say, I am not an expert. I want to be teachable, and I want people to hold my hand. Then you'll go and look for mentors alive and ancestral. Thank you.
There's a powerful statement that you said, teachable spirit, having a teachable spirit. And you were able to understand servitude more than anything, surrendering yourself to this calling. It's what got you guys where you are. And one thing I know about a dream, you are just trusted with an idea and things just unfold the more you execute. So you are basically giving the realities to
Yes.
a young child out there, or a young man or young woman out there, to say, for the fact that you are given an idea, pursue it. Pursue it
relentlessly.
The journey will unfold. Just start.
Absolutely.
And through FBA, here you are, flying into the United States of America, a black child being able to teach leadership
Yes.
through the process of servitude.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us more about the journey?
I say, when I write in my books in 2016, both Katrina and Other Untold Stories and A Learner's Guide to Academic Success, which I will then use as part of the curriculum when I teach at Kansas State University, that the story is still unfolding.
It's still unfolding.
The best is yet to come, and the best pages of our lives are yet to be written.
Indeed.
I continue to say, we have not yet arrived. We are work in progress. We are beings in the process of becoming a people in constant pursuit of greatness, excellence, and total emancipation. Fundamentally for us, through and in, above and beyond, the joy was, still is, and will forever remain in the journey of our becoming. What do I mean? I mean, it's just an unfolding story, and the best pages of it are yet to be written. Never in my wildest dream have I ever thought that I'll go outside of South Africa, number one, to work or to study. But because we work and serve a God who works in mysterious ways,
Mysterious ways.
it
Say it
happened.
again.
It happened to me. It is what God had planned for my life. He knew me before I was born. He set me apart and made me a prophet of nation, one of the scriptures says. Do you hear what I'm saying? He knew that this one is going to be international.
International
He knew
material.
this one. Yes. And everything that happened prior was the preparation for the journey ahead. Do you hear what I'm saying? Everything was preparing me for the work that I was about to do. So how did it happen? It happened because I put in the work.
Yes.
They say that it is better to prepare for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared for it. So for me, I was ready and prepared. I went to the United States of America in 2018, selected for a program called Mandela Washington Fellowship. When I arrived there, everything was going well and everything went well throughout. And I posted that I had completed my master's. And they celebrated me, did nice things for me. They were nice people. The staff and colleagues of the Staley School of Leadership loved me. And they're like, we were, we're doing leadership work. But when I was standing in front of the crowd or my colleagues speaking, the staff were like, there is something special about you, Mafule. When you speak, you move the audience. When you speak, there is something that happens in the room. You ignite. And I told them that this is what sets my soul on fire. This is what makes me tick. This is what makes my heart skip a bit. They're like, you love this thing of leadership. I said, yes. Say, consider applying for an opportunity to come work with us. Wow. I knew then that God.
It is that.
It is that. Yeah. Do you hear what I'm saying? But I was invited, and then I applied, and of course, I got in. And I knew that I was prepared. And I knew that, I went for the audition before I was invited. I was in the room to do the audition before I would even know of an opportunity that was upcoming. Me, I was already aware that I'm going to be in South Africa, because I was like, America? What? So far. No. But when God has a plan for you, He will make sure that you follow through that plan. Absolutely. And I'm just grateful. And I know that a lot is still going to unfold in my life, and especially through the work of FBA. Indeed. A lot of exciting opportunities. For the most part, right now, at this point in our, we get invited. I no longer get to call people. People call me.
It's
Imagine
powerful.
that. So what does that mean? It means there is value in the work that we do.
There is.
We have, the FBA has now a track record. FBA now has credibility because it has over a decade of impact. And we who have been in the forefront of doing this thing, we have acquired, number one, experience and skills. So you are talking about someone who has over 10 years of experience in leadership. Through studies, through exercising it, through research, through teaching, and all sorts of things around leadership. So it can only be God, and I'm grateful, but more than anything, I'm grateful for the team that constitute the leadership and the volunteers and the ground forces of FBA. Those people are amazing.
They are amazing.
And I'm saying to them that let us hold hands together. We did not come this far just to come this far. We did not come this far just to come this far. The ground is fertile. The center is holding, and the future remains brighter than we have envisioned it. So let us hold to purpose. It is only the crazy ones that believe that they can change the world who usually change the world. Someone said that. But I want to say to you that we have that opportunity. We are going to break and shatter the glass ceiling like I did when I went to America, to your question. And you become the first African to teach in an American university. Wow. And you don't just teach American people. You teach the people from across the world. That is why we say FBA has a global footprint. Because a product of the FBA is teaching people from all over the world.
Listen, black child, it is possible.
It is possible.
It is really possible. Serve where you are and surrender to the calling that you've been called to. And don't underestimate each and every process. Life is a process. Each and every moment is serving for the greater good. So don't underestimate where you are, serve where you are. And there is power in telling our own story. I'm going to repeat that.
Yes.
There is power in telling our own stories. Here we are, having the guidelines written by the very same person I'm sitting here with. Mafule Moswane, please tell us about your books. And before we get into your books, there's something I want us to discuss, because when we say let's write our own stories, people don't understand. Can you please tell us the power of writing our own stories? What does it say? For me, I don't even want to answer that question. Maybe you have a different answer to that. It's very important for us to write our own stories and to tell our own stories. How is it important to, and I want you to tell us the importance of writing our own stories.
Thank you so much. Chinua Achebe then comes into the conversation and say, until the lions learn to tell their own story, the hunter will always tell the story. We are African
Please
people.
repeat that.
It's from Chinua Achebe, who says that until the lions learn to tell their own story, the hunter will always tell the story.
In a nutshell, when you tell your story, no one can tell it better.
No one can tell it better
You tell
because
it from
I bring everything.
Thank you.
I bring the emotion. I bring the experience. It could be of pain and joy. Of course, that is the emotion. I bring the expertise. I bring the lessons. And in scientific terms, we call it an insider's perspective when you do research.
Yeah.
That this is the story from the primary source.
Itself.
Now I am wearing the head of the teacher.
Teachers, leadership teachers.
You know, that it is the primary source who
Yeah.
gives the perspective, the insider's knowledge. And so why do we have to tell our own story? So that it is fully produced.
Yeah.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not compromised. And in that way, we will tell the truth
Yeah.
and our own truth because that matters. So we historically as Black people, particularly in the context of Africa and throughout the world, I mean, we've been conquered, colonized, and culturally exterminated. So the project of writing our own story, it is to create a new culture.
Absolutely.
That fits us. But also is to imagine ourselves in the present and the future.
Yeah.
To say what value systems should guide our ways of being and becoming. Where do we see ourselves? For example, we, myself and you and our generation, we are the first generations to build institutions from the ground up. Many of the foundations that exist, in my knowledge, have been built on the knowledge, on the names of big people. You are a celebrity, then you're like Mafule Moswane a foundation. Then because you have been well known and you have done a lot, then people are like, let's invest. Right? Most foundations are built on the big names.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to mention. And there is nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
But we come and we build foundations on visions, on mission, on values, on programs. And we're making those institutions to be legacy institutions so that for generations to come, they will look back and say, and we, in club leadership, when we start, we have Morongwa Maifo who says that at some point I had to learn that I have to make my life count, to work on leaving a legacy that will help when I'm gone. So 8 years later, then there are these books that Mafule has written, and they are out of club leadership.
Yeah.
The Learner's Guide to Academic Success has been bought by the Gauteng Department of Education to some of the schools. An organization like Charlotte Manyamacheke procures the books. There is a conversation by some universities, God we pray, that they want to procure my books. Right? They have been used for teaching and learning at Kansas State University. That's legacy. That's a big feat. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Because there's nothing powerful like feeding our people things they can relate to. I mean, from reading, that's where my imagination were expanded. It broadened my perspective so much. I was from a village that, I mean, there is no hope. But through reading, I was able to dream beyond my circumstances. And hence
the corridors you find yourself, yes.
That's why I always say there is power in writing our own stories, because a child in Khamasemola now, a young man or woman in Khamasemola, when they read your book, they can say, I can relate. I am Mafule, I can relate, and I can, go beyond the confinements that I find myself in at this point. So to continue getting in the power of writing our story and feeding our people, what we want to feed, because there is power in being able to relate, to say, I'm a Black person and there's nothing impossible when when I read and I get to hear a story from Mafule said, I started from Tabamche. This vision started from Tabamche. For me, it's an inspiration to say, I can start something great also, something that will serve generations to come. And that's the power.
That's where the power lies.
Yeah, that's the power.
That's where the power lies, and we are also able to tell nuanced perspective, balanced narrative.
Absolutely.
And remember that, especially the people in our context who architected the things like colonization and apartheid were educated, in inverted comma, people. They were people who went to school. So if you are going to fight a battle of liberation, you cannot be someone who's not educated, who's not producing knowledge. How are you going to reach out to the people? You have to earn credibility so that when you speak and they're like, it's Professor Mafule, they say, oh, yes. Do you hear what I'm saying? You can't be an ordinary person.
It's not possible.
You hear what I'm saying? Because people, so you have to then understand, how do you position yourself strategically so that when you speak, your voice matters and they know that you're speaking from a privileged point of view. That Mafule is speaking about leadership, yes, because he has built an institution, not just institutions.
That's a reference.
So he knows what he's talking about. If he doesn't know, but he has experience at least, we can trust his views. If Mafule writes about mentorship, FBA has a mentorship program. He has been mentored. He is mentoring, right? And he has worked as a mentor locally and internationally. I think we can trust his perspective. We are not saying everything he says is right, but we can trust some of the things that he's saying. So that's why I'm saying that let us go out and make education fashionable. Let us go out and get those qualifications, get educated, get the knowledge, experience, get the expertise to use it to liberate ourselves, to liberate the people of Africa in Africa and the diaspora.
There's something powerful you said, which I want us to visit.
Yes.
To acquire knowledge through education, to be able to build our own philosophies.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
I'm not saying it the way you, but what I understood is that we use education to build our own philosophies because we know our lives, the institutions we are building, and how we want our Africa to be.
Yes.
So I don't want to. I want to be very careful in posing this question to say,
yes,
everything that we consume, speaking to education, it needs to be a space that empowers us to know what to take and what not to take, to liberate.
To decipher.
Yes. And there's nothing powerful about that, to say we are not young people who just believe everything. Yeah, we are at the position where we can acquire education, but we are the young ones who are able to decipher, okay, this is working and this is not working. I mean, that's the power of education, to be able to be decisive, liberative enough for, okay, I can take this and curate my own philosophy that will work to build my own vision. And going to your student...
learner's guide to academics.
Our learner's guide,
yes,
which is also a guideline for our people to take from. Young people that are coming after us will be able to say, this is the learner guide. What is the purpose of this book? Why did you write it? What was your goal? What was your vision? What were you intending to achieve when you were writing this?
So, number one, it was to change the narrative, to demystify some of the old myths. Like, for example, there was a apartheid individual who said that black people cannot do maths. And then we have to write in the book that maths is actually one of the easiest subjects. Probably the easiest, if you were to think about it. I mean, it doesn't change that much. 1 + 1 in the maths that they do at high school until matric. It's still 2 from when I was doing
let's go back
high school, right? So if you know some of these concepts, they don't change. But with theoreticals, philosophies, there are always new concepts emerging, new types of concepts and philosophies and events. Like, there is COVID.
Yeah.
Now we have to learn what this thing of COVID is. There is Feast Must Fall. Do you hear what I'm saying? If you are a history student, you must learn what is Feast Must Fall? What is Black Lives Matter? But with that thing of 1+1, it has always been 1+1. And I'm not undermining maths, but people have always undermined it from where I come from. In the book, the people I quote, they get 100% in maths.
Yeah.
They least get 100% in your theoretical concepts. Because those are not easy to get absolutes. So, but what had happened, it was that the apartheid had made black people feel inferior about themselves, that they cannot do maths. And that mindset is still entrenched in the minds of our mothers. They transfer it to their children. So that's why you feel like you see people say, I can't do maths and physics, the technical subjects. Because it is not because it's a natural thing. It was preached and people accepted it. Now you need a new preacher in the pulpit to say hallelujah. You can do it. It is possible.
Yes.
You can achieve it. And when we take that pulpit, you will see the change that is coming. Absolutely. And it is here. And people are going to experience it. So you also, the issue around language, we were judged for how we spoke English, right? But to change the narrative, listen, my accent was very poor, but I was a great student. So I spoke English in a steady accent.
Yeah.
And I knew the right answers, but I said them in a way that doesn't sound like Model C English. Yes, right? But because I had to demystify that English is not a measure of intelligence, especially the accent, but also the language.
Yes.
I went all the way from rural Ramasemola to go to a country where there is no Sepedi, isiZulu, as a home language, to teach in America. So that's the proven concept of this book. I wrote before I went to America that English is not a measure of intelligence. And of course, subsequently, I become this teacher who teaches in English, and every student is set alive in the room. And there are many other concepts. We talk about, the careers in here. Like, for example, historically, black people were restricted to having certain careers, right? But now they were not allowed to do your engineering, your medical careers in the past. Now we are opening that those opportunities are there if you get the grades. So the book is exceptional, not because it's written by me. In fact, all the books, they are exceptional. Not because they are written by me, but it's the truth that we have to tell. That we have a new generation of thinkers, writers that are changing what Thomas Kuhn in the book Scientific Revolution says is the paradigm. So there is a paradigm shift, and we are leading that narrative.
Before we close, Mafule Moswane, how do people get hold of your material?
Yes, thank you so very much for the opportunity. I don't know, is this my last contribution?
It's your last contribution because time is no longer on our side.
Yes. Look, it's my last contribution on the show, but I do believe and hope that
definitely there's going to be a part 2 because we didn't do anything. There's more concepts to
unpack.
Yes.
Look, what I want to say is that people can get hold of me on my personal Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, Mafule Moswane. On the book, it's Mafule Moswane. You can see Mafule Moswane. It's my names. You can get hold of me there. You can call me or WhatsApp me or at 078 601 3387. 078-601-3387 to engage us on the work of FBA or the books, even Faculty of Best Advisory. FBA can be found on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. So you can go there And even on our website, we have www.facultyofbestadvisory.org.za, where you can view the work that we do and get in touch with us and see how you can get involved and contribute in ways and means that you can to this stream.
We
Because
definitely need a part two of this.
yes, we are definitely the beautiful ones we've been
We've
waiting
been
for.
waiting
So thank
for.
you for having me.
Yeah.
And I wish you everything of the best. And like I have, may you find what set your soul on fire and make you
Indeed.
come alive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a great honor to have you here. And I know for sure that those who are going to watch this will learn and it will impact many people. So what I want to say to a African child, to say it is possible. Set yourself on fire by totally surrendering yourself to your calling and understand that life is a process. Every moment, every space you find yourself in, give it your all. From me to you and Conversations with Madam President, I just want to say thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video because, this man has shared knowledge with us. From me to you, until next time, thank you very much.